Mel Kiper Jr. put out his latest mock draft, and he said that you guys are going with the Raiders taking Utah State's Jordan Love. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow. Well, first off, thank y'all for having me, man. It's truly a blessing. But, I would say, I just feel like competition brings the best out of everybody. And Coach Gruden preaches that, to the fullest extent. And obviously, I love DC. DC is someone who took me underneath his wing the second I came in. And, obviously, a lot of fans might portray him as like, he's kind of iffy and this, that, and the third. But I love him to death. And obviously, we're just trying to bring in the best group of guys we can have in that quarterback room to kind of bring out the best out of everybody. And we're going to go from there.
I appreciate your love for DC, Clelin. Thank you for being on the show. But I must ask you this question. I understand that you love him. My question is, do you believe in him? I know he can play. He's not a scrub. He completed 70% of his passes last year. I got respect for the brother. But do you believe that he is the franchise quarterback for the future, the guy to move forward with for years to come?
I definitely do. I definitely feel like DC has that in him. I mean, we wouldn't have gave him all that money for no reason. I mean, you definitely got to look at how things went last year. Obviously, the situation with Antonio didn't work out the way that we wanted. And obviously, we had a very young receiving core. And that can be tough on the quarterback and the receiver. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But I feel like we're heading in the right direction with whoever goes out there. So I'm excited for DC and, Marcus, too, and anybody who might get in the draft.
They traded Khalil Mack for draft picks. One of them turned into you, and people were surprised. You were projected as a first-round pick, but how high up you went. And then you had your rookie season, really good against the run. Not a lot of sacks, usually defensive ends, especially when they do the kind of grunt work and are good or stout against the run, or tend to be a little underrated than when they put up the flashy sack numbers. What was your evaluation of your rookie season?
Oh, I feel like I had a good rookie year. I put up some numbers in probably every category. I would just say, just with the different way that, my team was asking me to play, because, I don't know if you watch or not, but I play inside and outside. And I was just a little bit of a different mix-up for me because I see that as my potential. And luckily, I feel like we have a very young group as a defensive line, still learning to play together. But I feel like, obviously, it's like that steak, you know what I mean? You can't cook a good filet mignon in like 2 hours. Like it takes time, you know what I mean? But when it's ready, it's gonna be ready. So it's
No
just
question.
I'm exactly. And she know what I'm talking about. So I feel like year 2 is gonna be truly special because I've been putting that work in for sure.
Got to marinate it. Got to cook it slow. All right, you mentioned AB. So Clelin, explain this to me. So it's your first training camp. You have Antonio Brown there, big personality. Obviously, your coach is a big personality as well. John Gruden used to work with us, great guy. What was it like when AB confronted Mike Mayock, the GM, on the practice field, and it's your first training camp there? Take us behind the curtain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when that happened, that was more so towards the end of training camp. We weren't in Napa Valley, but it was just like I was just kind of thrown off by it, because obviously, you see the stuff in the media, but when Antonio was in the locker room and stuff like that, he was the chillest dude, you know what I mean? So it was really, I just didn't even really notice to see that side out of either of them, you know what I mean? So I was kind of caught off guard and was just like, whoa, like, what's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? And they had a really, really good relationship. Obviously the three of them, Antonio, Mike, and Coach Gruden, like they always I felt like had a good relationship, So I guess I was just kind of, caught off guard by, but grown men gonna be grown men, and we're gonna have disputes at times. So
I wasn't going to bring up Antonio Brown, but you mentioned him, and so because of that, I'm going to ask you this question. I want to know, what do you guys feel your season would have been like had Antonio Brown been playing with y'all? And how do y'all feel about him as a result that it didn't work out because of the way it didn't work out?
Oh, man, obviously, when you feel like you got Antonio Brown at his best, I feel like the sky would have been the limit, obviously, for us offensively. I feel like he could have been, just did what he typically does, been a guy who was top 5 in receiving yards and touchdowns every single year, would have did his thing. And obviously when, you know, all the different stuff happened with everything going on. Like, that was tough on us because, you know, as a team, you know, we just want to be quiet, especially with us having hard knocks and stuff like that. We was kind of like, you know, it's just already so much attention on us, and just having all this other stuff added in, it was kind of tough on us. But I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, we just want to see the best for him, you know, because we know he did go through a lot regardless of whatever, you know, disarray or dysfunction it might have caused. You know, you just want to see him get back to who he was at the end of the day.
I'm going to get back to the social distancing in the midst of this pandemic and how it affects players. A guy like you, who has a lot of promise and shows certain things that are already a good foundation and areas where you can improve. Usually, that first off season, getting into the second season, is critical. How has this all affected your preparation for the upcoming season?
Man, it's been huge because I don't know y'all. Well, y'all probably do know about me. Definitely coming from Clemson. I done played 4 years of 15-game seasons. You know, 2 national championships and all that. So I haven't really had a true offseason in the last 5 years. And just getting this time has really, really been big. And sad to say, it had to come with this pandemic. But obviously, it's been huge for me, man. I feel like you're gonna see a completely different player, and I'm excited.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.